This weekend, we sat down with Mike Depew, an emergency medical technician, or EMT, for the state of New York. We asked him a couple questions like what the job entails and what pressures came along with it. Take a look.
Well, my job as a paramedic was to respond to emergency calls with an emergency vehicle, perform first aid, stabilize people if necessary, extricate them from and perform a rescue operation, and transport them safely to the hospital and monitor their life signs on the way to the hospital.
When asking Mike Depew about his specific job, we were corrected. He was not a paramedic, he was an emergency medical technician. Let him explain.
Well, I would like to correct you on one thing. I was not a paramedic, I was an emergency medical technician. There's a distinction. A paramedic is very much an advanced position in emergency medical first responders hierarchy, and at the time I was an emergency medical technician, paramedics were just coming on the scene.
You may ask, how does someone get into being an emergency medical technician?
As a 16-year-old young man, I got involved with the local fire department, and I always wanted to be a fireman when I was a young boy, and I got involved with that, and that led me to working for their rescue squad because they needed people. They were short on help, and the opening was there, and I got involved and I enjoyed it. So by happenstance, I more or less got involved with the emergency rescue work in the rescue squad in a small community. In a broader view, I just enjoyed helping people.
Of course, being an emergency medical technician is a stressful job, so there must be some training.
There was a fair amount of training involved. Initially, it was training that was provided by the various organizations that I belonged to. I belonged to, like I said, a local volunteer fire department rescue squad, and then a university affiliated rescue squad. There was basic training provided by those organizations. There was Red Cross training in first aid, basic first aid, advanced first aid, and then also there was the State of New York Emergency Medical Technician Program, in which you had to perform classroom training, practical training. You had to serve time as an observer in an emergency room, and you had to pass various strenuous written exams. My first call, if you will, that I recollect was a major seizure, and it was very much in baptism by fire because a difficult call. The person was having a major seizure, and it was very physical, and major portion of that effort was to keep the person from injuring themselves, and that required me to put my body between this person and various objects, walls, furniture, things like that. But it would be amazing the strength that the person having the seizure had.
Being out of the line of work as an emergency medical technician, we asked Mike if he could still help someone in an emergency situation.
I certainly think I could help someone that's in need. I may not be up on the latest techniques and things like that, but I certainly recall enough of my basic training to be able to help someone in need.
So as Mr. Depew said, being an emergency medical technician isn't easy, but the rewards are in fact worth it. So thanks for joining me today. I'm Joey Amaro.